Hey, Steve, can you hear me over there, young fella? I don't have any audio on you. I can't hear you at all now. You've got yourself muted. Hello, I can hear you now.
How about now?
Yep. Hey, welcome, Steve. We are live and in color.
All
Technicolor, one
right.
might even say.
Excellent.
How are you feeling today?
I feel fantastic, of
As well you
course.
should, my friend. As well you should. Today you have chosen quite an interesting topic. I have talked to a couple of people about it because, of course, we talked about this a couple of days ago, and it really does raise a lot of questions. You know, Today we're talking about exploring quantum jumping and the multiverse, which is a very, very popular subject across the board. Doesn't matter who you talk to, a lot of people have a lot of questions about it. And I think you're the guy to give us some answers. What do you say?
Well, I have a perspective about that, and I'll do my best. Absolute best. So, do you want me to just rattle off what I'm thinking?
Let's start there. I let's start there. I mean, what are your thoughts before I get into the few questions? I've already sent you the questions.
Yeah.
But before we get into those questions, I'm looking at them here. Uh, let, just explain your perspective on quantum jumping and the multiverse. But I think that I don't want to say that a lot of people have a clear understanding about the what the multiverse is, but quantum jumping is something that people were like, "What? How do you do that?" I mean, I've seen the show, you know, but by the way, if anybody is watching and they have a question or a comment, please don't hesitate to go ahead and write that comment. We're live. We're sitting here with Steve right now, so take advantage of it. So, by all means, Steve, please share with us your thoughts on this.
I think that most people are not thinking, wide enough, big enough. I think they're thinking, universe, maybe another universe or two, maybe 11. I've heard 11 different dimensions, and I'm not 100% sure what that means exactly, uh, because I think it's unlimited. And so it's very difficult for us to quantify, and our brains aren't really, built that way. They're really just built to observe, imagine and observe. Oh, that's pretty much it. So, so I'm stretching mine as much as I can to come up with these ideas that I pick up from here and there. But so it's frequency, and we need to think about things being a frequency. That is the key, I believe,
Mm.
to understanding quantum jumping, multiverse, and some of the things you sent over for some of the questions, like what does it all mean for travel and communications, and I didn't see this on the list, but health and wealth and success.
Hmm.
What is it all? What can we do with this information? Quantum jumping in the multiverse. So, who cares, right? Well, for me, it's like, how can I have a better life? And I think that's what most people want is what can they do to improve? Now, I used to get upset when I heard say, you can have a better life. Well, who are you to judge, me thinking that I want a better life because my life was going pretty good. But I stopped to think about that and I said, wait a minute. It can always be better. It can always be better. Why not? So how do I do that? So then I started digging into the law of attraction and what does it mean and how do I use that information to get a better life? Simple, right? So I've done decades, literally decades of research and study and listening and reading and watching YouTube videos and seeing other people's perspective and opinion. And I've come to realize, I think, that this is so dynamic of a universe that whatever we conceive, we're going to find the evidence to support it. So if we're looking out there or we're looking at for other people or other circumstances and situations to give us that evidence, then we're barking up the wrong tree.
Mm.
I'm going to say that again. If we're looking out there, or if we're looking for other people, if you're looking to me to find the evidence of what all this means and how to get a better life, well, you're kind of barking up the wrong tree. Now, I'm not saying don't dig and do research and study and try to figure it out. I'm absolutely saying do that for sure, because that's what I've done. And it's proved very fruitful for me.
So,
So, but I am saying don't look for evidence from anywhere else but from within your own mind and your own thinking
so
and
we have
your
we have a
own
question, Steve. I'm sorry.
experience.
What is quantum jumping? We have a question. What is it?
Yeah, I'm coming around to that, and I knew you were going to ask me. So, quantum jumping is, first off, you have to understand the multiverse. So we've got the multiverse, which is frequency. It's anything that you can imagine that is different than what we just experienced creates a new universe. Okay. So if this is this universe, because I'm holding up my hand like this and I turn it like that, that's a whole new universe. And a whole bunch of universes just happen in between all that because all of my fingers did a whole bunch of different things there. And each simple movement, thought, breath, idea creates another vibrational universe. So, multiverse is all of that. It's infinite. It's way beyond our ability to really conceive of it. But we don't need to, thank goodness. All we need to know is each one of those universes is separate. And then how we get to each one is quantum jumping. Does that make sense? Are you there, Miles?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm right here. I'm sorry. How is that then applicable to our, our everyday life? As we're moving about in our daily functions, going to work and we're unhappy with, whatever the outcome or whatever the reality of today is, not the outcome, but whatever the reality of today is. We don't
Yeah.
like our job. We can't stand it. We want to change. How how does quantum jumping in the multiverse, resonate with, the average person that's wanting something different in their life, if you will?
Well, first off, we're doing this anyway, and we're
Mm,
master creators already, if that makes sense. In other words, we're creating our own life right now. I mean, literally all of it.
right.
We're creating our bodies. We're creating this microphone. We're creating these every single thing you see, you are manifesting it. All the people that are there, the energy to create that is actually coming through you, through your filters. So quantum jumping is just kind of understanding that. And then it's not about creating it so much because it's already created, it's already here. There's no time, so everything exists now. So you what we do want to know is how do we achieve or see or get to the better life, what it is we want now. So what we want to do is direct ourselves through the multiverse. And we do that with quantum jumping, and quantum jumping is controlled by our thinking and our focus,
Mm-hmm.
boom, and our focus on what we want.
So, what you're saying then is whatever it is we want, wherever we want to go or want to be, if you will, it's literally up to us, the individual, and the way that we think about it. And as you said, it's already there. We've already we've manifested what we have or what we're going through. So a change in thinking, maybe, guide me if I'm wrong, but a change in thinking is what takes you to where you want to be. Is that a correct assumption? Or
That's exactly right. A,
okay.
a change in thinking is where you is what is your steering wheel on your ship of life,
Mm,
if you will, and how you focus that thinking and how clear and how precise that thinking is. Now, we are sloppy thinkers
mm,
in terms of manifestation and creation because we're thinking, oh, I want this, but, and then that but shows up or something shows up in there that says, well, I need to go get a 4-year college degree and I need to understand this before I do that or before I can get this. Well, that may not be true on different vibrational universes. That may be, and as a matter of fact, there are universes out there where none of that's true. All you have to do is control your thoughts. So, really kind of freeing your mind, if you will, free it out there so that you get to the point where you can think something without doubt or without any resistance or without any question as to whether or not it will show up.
mm,
And when you do that, and we do it every day. So look for that evidence where that happens, okay? Now that's the evidence that you want is yourself uh, creating the things that you want. Now, once you see where you were thinking something and it correlates with your outside world, then now you're off to the races, if you will. You said, oh, did you see that? Wow. And then you don't discount it as a coincidence. You say, wow, that was a direct result of what I was thinking, and it showed up right there in front of my eyeballs.
mm-hmm,
And then when you see that, and then you repeat that, and then you say, "Look, that happened again." Now, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, quote unquote. You can claim it either way, and that's kind of important. It doesn't matter whether it's good or bad from your perspective, but what matters is that you realize that you've created it. Now you're taking the responsibility for what shows up out there. Responsibility.
mm-hmm,
That's your ability to respond to the circumstances that are out there. And you say, wow, if I created that unpleasant situation, then don't I have the ability to create a pleasant situation? Because the universe doesn't define anything that it delivers to us as good or bad. There's no judgment whatsoever in the law of attraction and the law of reflection, if you will.
Hmm.
In the law of karma, you can call it anything you want. It's the law of attraction.
Right.
So you get who you are. You get what you're thinking. Nothing will change unless you change.
That's right. And you know, speaking of that, and you referenced something about like education and doing this, that, and the other. A lot of people that are listening to this are going to say, I know I need to make this change. I know I need to do this differently, and I simply don't have the time to read this book, take this course, or whatever it is. Right? I don't have the people will tell themselves that. I know you've heard it a lot. Excuse me, yourself. Oh, I don't have time for this. I can't do that. I want to do it, but I don't have time. For this. So when we're talking about the multiverse and quantum jumping and things like that, this is one of the questions that we have. How do we reconcile with the traditional understanding of the time flow and causality, if you will? I do this, that causes this. Excuse me. Pardon me, Steve.
Bless you.
You know, uh, but causality is a big thing. But if I don't have the time to do this thing, how can I make this thing happen in the flow of time as we know it? Because I know that that's a huge question for a lot of people, or I don't even think it's a question. I think it's a roadblock.
Well, I have a number of thoughts about that. Number one, of course, you don't have enough time because there's no such thing as time.
Mm.
So everybody's short on time, but in a way, not really. So, because hey, there's no time, that means we have all of eternity to get this right. We're not physical beings, we're vibrational beings. And because we exist now in no time, we exist for eternity. Eternity is not endless time, it's just no time.
Hmm.
So, okay, so it doesn't matter if you want to put it off now or if you want to do it later in terms of quantum jumping or I don't have enough time. Really, not enough time is just say, I haven't really moved it up on my priority list high enough. It's not that important to me
Hmm.
because you're doing other things that you have already decided that you want to do. So if you're not looking into this law of attraction or the multiversal quantum jumping or trying to create a better life the easy way, then you're going to do it the hard way.
Mm.
And then as soon as you figure out, wow, this is really hard to do it the hard way, then you'll probably move over to saying, well, maybe I should look into this law of attraction thing because this looks like it might be easier. It is in a way, and it's not in a way, because now you are tackling the biggest challenge of all, which is controlling your thinking and controlling your ego and controlling the uh, the the want and the need or the reflex, if you will, of reacting to your physical manifestations that are happening out there. So you're reacting. So that means they're going to recreate themselves and show themselves again right in front of you.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of little clues in the English language. But when you move your ideas of what it is you want up. In other words, if you move your law of attraction ideas to a higher priority list, all of a sudden you will have time. And then when you start meditating and you realize, oh my gosh, I'm tapping into this massive amount of information that comes to me through meditation, and then your work days turn into 2 hour days instead of 8 to 10 hour days because now you're focused in on the things that will get you the results the fastest and the easiest, and you can get all that done in 2 hours. Then you'll knock yourself up the side of the head and say, "Well, why didn't I do this sooner?" Well, it's because you're too busy, thinking that you had to do it the other way,
Hmm.
because that's what society and your environment and your habits have shown you that. Well, this is the way it's done. You know,
And
so
that
it's
can
kind of
be prohibitive.
it could be which.
It can be prohibitive. I think of that TV show that I was talking to you about, where the um, alien being was taking that guy, and he would drop him off every 10 years, back into his earthly reality every 10 years. But the guy had no, he's the human is losing 10 years, but the being that was taking him to learn about humanity had absolutely no concept of time and didn't realize that he was destroying this guy's reality. And I found that show fascinating. Of course, I brought it up to you because I found it absolutely fascinating, and it really does kind of go with what we're talking about here today in terms of time. We think of the fact that, hey, listen, we are only in on this earth for so many years, so much time, so many summers, as someone would once told me. You only have, if you're lucky, you only have 75 summers, is what they what they said,
Yeah.
you know, and in this existence, in this form of reality, I guess that would be true, but there is something more. There is a collective understanding of reality that I think us as humans are tapped into, but subconsciously. We don't know consciously, most of us, I would say, we don't know consciously what we're actually doing and why we're doing it, but there's something that we're contributing to the collective. And I attribute it to the actual universe. We have a universe that's ever expanding, as the scientists tell us, right?
Right.
And in
That's
this
correct.
right, and in this ever expanding universe, it just so happens to expand as humans expand, as our existence and understanding in life expands, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I find that absolutely mesmerizing. You know, we are here experiencing a form of reality that contributes to a greater reality that lives in what we're talking about, in the multiverse, in quantum jumping, knowing that we can do and be anything that we can imagine. Why don't most of us do it?
Because we don't know that we can. We
Mm,
think that we cannot. And that's why most people don't do it. And they're too busy doing the things that they have on their things to do list that day to stop and really say, what's going on here? Really? And I love seeing these things out there that says, learn how to quantum jump. You don't need to learn how to quantum jump.
mm,
You're doing it. You're doing it now. It's something that we do. It's the thing that creates the illusion of time. And so we're just bouncing from one multiverse universe to the next multiverse universe to the next one, the next one, the next one, about I don't know how many times a second, but a lot, a
mm,
huge number. And but what we do need to learn, I think, is how to direct the quantum jumping through the multiverse, because we want what we want
mm,
and we want to feel good. I mean, everybody does things based on one thing. Do they believe it will make them feel better?
mm,
That's it. I think that's pretty much it. And because you're not going to choose the things that make you feel worse unless you think they'll make you feel better in some way.
mhm,
But a lot of folks are a little bit confused about that. But the way you can tell is your emotions. So you think to create your emotions are the feedback that will say you're on the right track or you're not on the right track. So if you feel bad, then you're not on the right track. It's that simple. But I like to understand the mechanics, the physics of it all, because when I saw that short video about the um, the video that would be it showed how when we placed our consciousness on something that was happening, that the mere observance of that matter changed how it reacted.
Hmm.
The Heisenberg experiment.
Hmm.
And I was like, "How is that possible?" It was the first thing that came into my mind. You're not over there messing with it. You're not changing anything. You're just looking at it. How is it possible that that changes how that physical manifestation changes?
Hmm.
How is that working? Well, that drove me down the path of, really looking into this stuff. And then I started to realize that, oh, nothing is as it seems. you know,
Right.
Nothing that we experience here is in actuality set in stone. So when you say there's cause and effect, well, that's just your belief. Now, there is no true cause and effect because each one of these universes exist independent of all the other universes. So that means you can quantum jump from this universe way over there into the future that would be completely different if you had the ability to change your thinking that much. Or you could change it to the past. You can go back into the past and change anything in the past if you have the ability to expand your thinking to believe that that is possible. And then you do it. You change that thinking. And I've had the few times where I changed my thinking to such an extent that I did jump over a whole bunch of universes within the multiverse, and things had a big radical change right in front of my physical eyes. I said, wow, how's that possible?
Hmm.
Well, because there's really no such thing as cause and effect. Now, don't take my word for it. You've got to try it. You've got to do it in order before you'll start to see what I saw.
That's, I find this all just so amazing. Uh, as you know, we've talked about it. We talk about it all the time. I'm on this journey to understand as much as possible, uh, and I don't know if we ever actually get there, right? But it's, to me, when I listen to you talk about these things, it's amazing because you're right. You're you're absolutely correct. The things that we choose to do, that we say, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm gonna be that. I'm gonna have that. We generally achieve those things. If we don't
Yeah.
if we don't let it go, if we don't live in doubt, as many of us do, you know, because I know I've been guilty of it. I'm not as guilty today as I was before. When you say, I would really like to have that, but as you said earlier, there's that but I would like to do this, but that's that limiting belief. You're limiting yourself with that three-letter word every time.
Yeah.
It's almost like you just have to
So
start over.
here, here's what I found to be very effective. Um, I look at the things that I don't care too much about. In other words, I don't care if I get them or I don't.
Mm.
And it doesn't matter how big they are. Whoops, we lost the connection.
Well, let's see here.
Can you see me?
I can. I don't know what happened there. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. Oh, I was looking. There you are.
Okay.
There we go.
Um, doesn't matter how big things are or how small they are, then, but what matters is what we believe about them. In other words, if we believe it's going to be difficult or we have to do a whole bunch of different things to see it, then they're big in our minds. But if we say, "Oh, wouldn't it be nice if such and such?" If I had a 40-foot motorhome, show up out in front of my house, you know, if deep down inside, if you don't really believe that, then that ain't gonna happen. But if you don't really have a belief about it, or if you just say, "Yeah, that'd be nice if when that shows up," or it's nice that I have it, live in the end, as Neville Goddard talks about, then it'll show up. It might take a minute, because we do have a buffer of time built into this physical manifestation to hold the illusion of time and space together in such a way that it becomes an experience, a linear experience for us, which is beneficial for our edification, if you will, our education within the experience here, or to enhance the experience and to have the ability to go through a process of manifestation and creation. Because can you imagine if we're all vibration and we're not within this framework, we're in the total vibrational framework where we think things and they just show up instantly. That could get boring after a while, I think, because we think a whole bunch of stuff, and then after a while we say, well, now what? I'm out of ideas. I think it instantly, there's no process to experience this stuff. So now we say, well, let's try lowering our frequency and visit, Earth, where anything is possible, but we've totally forgotten that we can do anything and we can be anything. We've forgotten all that now. So now we have the challenge of, first off, going through the process of thinking that we can do, remembering, or believing that we can be or do or have anything. And then now we have to figure out how we do that, and then go through the process of believing and remembering that there's not necessarily a process to go through. Okay, so it's a game, and if we treat it that way, and we'll have a lot more success at creating the life we want. So I do talk about, never, sometimes, that we'll have something, we already have it, and we look back and we say, well, we had to go through this big process to get the thing. We had to learn something, we had to go make some money to go buy it, or we had to do this or that. So now we have it. Maybe it's something as simple as a toaster, and now we have a toaster, so we don't really need a toaster. But all of a sudden, free toasters start showing up all over the place. So now we have 5 toasters. You know, how did this happen? Well, we wanted a toaster for a long time, and we created a lot of momentum around a toaster. And so now you got a toaster, and now when you got one, now you're not looking to and wondering why you don't have a toaster. And so you've released all resistance around having a toaster. Now, 5 more show up. And that's the way it is for everything. It's for relationships, it's for money, it's for your career, it's for your material manifestations, your cars, whatever it is, your health. So if you don't worry about your health, then you probably have good health. But why is all this true? Because your baseline vibration that comes to all of us is all high vibration. It's good stuff. It's all in the higher vibrational frequency. So we're going to automatically have good health. We're
Hmm.
automatically going to be abundance, or have abundance and in abundance. The only thing we have to do is choose the abundance that we want, and get rid of the limiting beliefs, the resistance, the low frequencies. So one of my favorite things is, I wonder where my next $50,000 is coming from. I don't really think too much about it. I just, I look back, maybe, well, it happened this time, and every time I thought about it, it kind of happened. So the only thing I really need to do is just maybe raise the number. Wonder
Hmm.
where my next $100,000 is coming from, or when are my next $1 million is coming from? And then, be aware of what shows up and then maybe take the action that comes with the clues that come from the universe. So, relating all this back to quantum jumping in the multiverse is I wanted to know what the physics were that made all this happen. And so it's quantum jumping in the multiverse. So everything exists now. We need to quantum jump. We need to direct our vibrational frequency within the quantum jumping to through the multiverse to get to those things that we want. We can do that quickly and easily, or we can do it slow and hard. And either way is fine because you're picking those paths.
Mm-hmm.
And the purpose of this whole thing is to point it out, bring your awareness, my awareness. I'm talking about it because I like it. It's fun.
Yeah.
And I like to understand it. And and now I'm saying, oh, maybe there's something you like because I am going to line up with the individuals that believe and want the same thing as I do. So if you're watching this, you're lined up with, we're on the same frequency. And, you're probably enjoying the understanding this and you're going to dig deeper and watch all the videos. And I'm nothing more than a product of, what I've been looking at and searching for, which includes a whole bunch of people and a bunch of circumstances and events, which is all I'm here to do. That's it. I am here for one purpose. From the creator's point of view, I'm here to offer my unique perspective of everything that is here. So I'm taking all this information in and I have my own perspective and I offer that back to creation. That's all I can do because if everything's here now, what I can't add to that.
Right.
I
Right.
can't. So the expansion of the universe is expanding our viewpoint of the universe, our understanding, our thinking about it. And by the way, those bullet points you sent over earlier, Miles, were really good. They helped
Thank
me
you.
to come up with some things. And one of those was, and you might want to go with this, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
is what are the um, implications that we have to look for? Help me with this. What's the responsibility that comes with
Mm-hmm.
the knowledge of quantum jumping
Yeah. So it's
and
in what
the
ways could a
multiverse?
deeper understanding of quantum jumping and the
Yeah,
multiverse impact fields such as physics, philosophy, just practical applications like we discussed a little while ago. Uh,
yeah.
you know, uh, what are the implications? I mean, what could they be, right? Uh,
Well,
well, from
that's
what I'm
good.
listening, as I'm listening to you, and I'm saying, okay, what are the implications? Well, I mean, the implications are simple. You're either going to do, be, or have, or not, you know, right?
Right. And from a perspective of personal, you want to do only positive things because it's the law of attraction. If you do
Mm-hmm.
negative things, if you're trying to do bad to other people, because you can certainly use this the law of attraction for imagining things negative for others. But if you live by the sword, you will die by
Mm,
the sword.
for sure.
And if you live by the negativity and the harm, you will die by the harm. And so it's not, I mean, uh, everyone can do what they want to do. There is no restriction to or judgment of, your own experience. However, you will experience what it is that you put out. Whatever you put out, you're going to get back. So you don't really want to do harm to others because it will just be harming yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And are we going to make mistakes and accidentally do things that will harm others? Yes, we will. Um, but we can be aware and do our best to create those positive things that will, you know, correct that and balance the equations, or just stop. Just
Right.
stop doing it. And as Abraham Hicks likes to say, if you stop it, if you stop the resistance, your core or your higher vibrations will automatically go up, because we, with our negative thinking and our beliefs, are holding those vibrations down. So if we just say, oh, just let go and just sit still and think nothing, we meditate, if you will, then that cork will rise, those vibrations will raise to a much higher frequency, and we'll start to get those things that we want.
Right. I mean, be, you think about it, in our decisions, just by making a choice, will of course affect others. And, you know, we don't know how that's going to affect others negatively or positively, or we don't know. We don't know. We're just making the choice for us and what we want to do and where we want to go, which brings up another question. Are there any real ethical implications or considerations? This is one of the key questions that we have to take
Mhm.
into account when exploring the possibilities of quantum jumping in the multiverse. We've all seen movies when people are jumping from one timeline to another, and they call it the effect. You know, when you go back in time and you change this, it affects everything moving forward. When, as I understand the multiverse to be, even if if that was a thing, right? Being able to go back and forward in time, it's really not going back and forth in time. You're just going to another universe, another thread of reality where things are what
It,
they are. It's already written that you're going to be there.
it's not necessarily that way. I understand what you're saying.
Right.
And when I started to really understand it, it kind of ruined all of my great timeline, the sci-fi movies for me. I said, "Oh, darn it! It used to be, like, wow, if they change this, then all this will change." No, it doesn't work that way. The way that it actually works is those timelines are not really timelines. They are just individual events and occurrences that exist in the all that is, which is everything is now.
Hmm.
So you can go back in time. You're not going to change a timeline and affect the future unless you believe that that's what's happening. Then you'll experience that, but you'll only experience it from a individual basis. It's not going to happen to everybody.
Yeah, not to
So
others. So, what you're saying is there are really no ethical considerations to take into account because it just is what it is, right?
from that larger perspective we were just talking about, not
Hmm.
really, but from a more individual, I talked about not doing harm.
Yeah.
That is the only ethical thing that I can think of. Now I could be wrong. And people are going to disagree with me, of course. They're going to say, well, there's evil on the planet. And I'm saying, no, there's not. Evil is just an illusion, is a part of the vibrational frequency that you have a choice to choose or not choose. As I said earlier, there is no judgment from the creator about evil or good or anything like that. Those are all man's judgment of the all that is.
Mm.
And it's just an opportunity to experience a different thing. And by judging other people, you're putting your attention on that, and you're drawing all of that negative vibration, what you would call negative vibration, because you've judged it as evil. You're
Hmm.
drawing all of that towards you. And that's not probably not what you want if you're saying, oh, that's really bad. What you should do instead is put your attention on what you want. Forget about that thing that you've called evil,
Mm.
because it's existing. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't go fix it. The only thing you can do is make it bigger in your own personal existence. And So that you may not want to do that. You may want to do that. You may not want. It's not for me to judge. I'm not here to say do it or don't do it. You can do
Mhm.
whatever you want. I'm just saying I'm not going to do it. Even though I do spend some time on talk radio, and then I say, like, "What am I doing?" I don't want to listen to this.
Right.
But it's entertaining for a second, so I try to get off of that and then go on to something that I want, because usually the talk radio guys are talking about all the things that are bad, and so I want to focus on what it is I want. So then I turn that off and I turn some music on or turn on Abraham Hicks, because that's generally pointing me in the direction of things that I want, or Neville Goddard, or um, there's I can't think. There's a lot of them. Paramahansa Yogananda. Paramahansa is not so much into teaching us about vibration and frequencies, more like you know focus your and meditation on the higher frequencies. It gets us to the same place.
Mhm.
It's all the same, really the same message. It's just, how do you want to view the all that is, and adding um, your observation of the all that is from your unique viewpoint back to the creator. Does that
Wow.
make
Yeah. Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. So, you know, as the people that are watching and listening move forward in their day, their week, their month, their year, and someone inevitably is going to be listening this either now or sometime here in the future, and they're going to say to themselves, "Wow, um, I I really, really, really need to focus on the positive of where I want to be and what I want for my life, my this existence." As we
Yeah.
close this out, what is it that, from what we discussed, what is it, speaking to that person, that you would say to guide them, to tell them, hey, this is what, not necessarily what you should do. Here's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that you should do today or in the week for you to move forward and achieve what it is you want. But what is a realistic roadmap for that person that's watching or listening right now as they move forward to what is it that you could tell them that they could do or should implement in their life starting now to help them achieve whatever it is they're trying to achieve? I hope that
Yeah.
question didn't sound like a riddle, because it felt like it did.
You kind of made the point, and also really the purpose of talking about quantum jumping and multiverse is to expand one's belief of anything being possible. So for me, it was like, how does this work? And why is anything possible? So now I kind of have an understanding. It's going to be very, very basic understanding of the quantum jumping in the multiverse. But so now it gives me a permission slip, if you will, to say, oh, wow, anything is possible if I were to free my mind up and get away from limiting beliefs.
Mm.
So now, if I can push those limiting beliefs away and just say, okay, anything's possible, now, now I can focus on the things that make my life better, which is, I want to feel better. What would I think I need to believe to bring in those physical manifestations that would make me feel better? And I can focus on that with the understanding that I may not get exactly that thing, but it doesn't matter, because I feel better right now.
Right.
And that feeling and that thinking will reflect back, and I will look at it and I will, recreate it. And now I'm on a positive feedback loop. And then all I have to do now is, it makes it easier. I can look out there, I can look in here and say, oh, look at that great thing. And I can react to that and remake it and have it and then I'm on a positive loop.
Mm.
And so what I would say is you can forget about quantum jumping and the multiverse. Just forget that and say, wow, all I have to do really is focus on what I want, look for the things that I like, put my attention on that, and feel better.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
That's it.
I like that.
That's
And,
what you should do.
and that
And
makes
it's pretty
all the
simple,
sense
right?
in the
And you
world.
make you feel better. That's it.
And that makes all the sense in the world. Well, Steve, thank you for this today. I think this live is amazing. I think it answered a lot of questions for a lot of folks. Just the conversation in general, because so many people are caught up in the mysticism of this whole idea of quantum jumping and the multiverse, when the reality of it is so much more surreal, if you will. Yeah, it's a lot more real than obviously the movies portray it. I don't think we've got a bunch of superheroes jumping from you know reality to reality, but we as an individual have the ability to do that and directly affect our lives and the lives of those around us in a positive way. And I just thanks for the conversation today, Steve. And for those that are listening and watching, put your comments in. There, reach out to Steve, have a conversation with him, um, set up some time to talk to him because, gosh, when we're talking about the law of attraction and frequency vibrations, that's I guess I would call that the nuts and bolts of everything that we're talking about. The engine that keeps all this going. So get in touch with him, have a conversation with him, read some of his books. You can find his stuff on Amazon. He's got another one that's just coming out. Um, just get in touch with him, however you need to. Make the connection. That's what I would say, because I stay as close as possible. I'm just talking about me. So thank you, Steve.
All right. Thank you, Miles, for putting this on. Appreciate it.
And I'll talk to you shortly. Thank you, everybody, for watching, listening. Make sure you participate. Make sure you subscribe to this video, or like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's about belief. There's a lot of great information there that can help you out on a daily basis. Anything you need to feel, you can feel it right here. So thanks, you guys.